We all remember Gorilla Monsoon's iconic commentary and his larger-than-life presence in the wrestling world. But behind the scenes, this gentle giant was battling a serious illness and facing personal heartbreak. His story is a reminder that even our heroes have struggles. Let's take a closer look at the man behind the legend. Robert James Gino Marella, better known as Gorilla Monsoon, was a legendary figure in professional wrestling. Born on June 4, 1937, Monsoon made his mark both inside and outside the ring. As a wrestler, he became famous for his role as a super heavyweight villain, often headlining events. But his influence didn't stop there. In the 1980s and 1990s, Monsoon became the voice of the World Wrestling Federation, WWF, working as a play-by-play commentator. Fans loved his work behind the mic, where he helped bring the excitement of wrestling to life. He also took on a behind-the-scenes role as a backstage manager, shaping the direction of many events. From 1995 to 1997, Monsoon took on the on-screen role of WWF president, adding even more to his legacy. And in a lasting tribute, the area just behind the entrance curtain at wrestling events, where he spent much of his later years, is called the Gorilla position in his honor. But every good thing must come to an end. This is the law of nature. By the 1990s, Monsoon had retired from in-ring competition and transitioned into a role as WWE president. But behind the scenes, his health was starting to decline. Gorilla Monsoon had long struggled with diabetes, a condition that began to take a toll on his body. Despite his health issues, Monsoon remained a steady presence in WWE, and fans could still hear his voice from time to time. However, in his final years, his health worsened, and he largely retreated from public life. On October 6, 1999, the wrestling world received devastating news. Gorilla Monsoon had passed away at the age of 62 due to heart failure, a complication of his long battle with diabetes. The news hit everyone hard. Monsoon had been such a vital part of wrestling for so long that it felt like the end of an era. Vince McMahon, wrestlers, and fans all over the world mourned the loss of a man who had given so much to the sport. In honor of his passing, WWE dedicated an entire episode of SmackDown to him, with heartfelt tributes from many of the wrestlers and personalities who knew him best. Jim Ross, one of the voices of WWE, delivered a moving tribute, saying that Monsoon wasn't just a commentator or a wrestler. He was a mentor, a friend, and a father figure to many in the wrestling business. One of the most emotional tributes came from Bobby Heenan, who shared an incredibly close friendship with Monsoon, both on and off the screen. When Monsoon passed, Heenan famously said, "I'll miss you, pal." It was a moment that tugged at the heartstrings of everyone who had watched them together for so many years.
Goodbye, my friend.
Even today, people remember the bond between the two, which transcended the wrestling business. Gorilla Monsoon's death was undoubtedly tragic, but his legacy lives on in the hearts of wrestling fans everywhere. From his memorable matches to his legendary commentary, Monsoon gave us decades of entertainment, and his influence can still be felt today. He may be gone, but he will never be forgotten. Gino Marella wasn't always the towering figure we know as Gorilla Monsoon. Growing up in Rochester, New York, he was known for his athletic prowess. In high school, he excelled in football, wrestling, and track and field. At over 300 pounds, he was affectionately nicknamed Tiny by his teammates. He continued his athletic career at Ithaca College, where he became a standout wrestler, weighing over 350 pounds. In fact, he even set a few school records and was known for his impressive 18-second pin in wrestling. During his college summers, he worked construction in his hometown of Rochester. One of the buildings he helped build, the Rochester War Memorial Arena, a place that would later host some legendary wrestling events. Isn't it crazy? After college, Gino Marella got noticed by New York wrestling promoter Pedro Martinez. His size and athleticism made him a natural fit for professional wrestling, and he debuted in 1958 under the name Gino Marella. Back then, he was a babyface, or good guy, proudly representing his Italian-American heritage. But it wasn't until he transformed into the monstrous heel character, Gorilla Monsoon, that his career truly took off. As Gorilla Monsoon, he was no longer the charming Italian singer. Instead, he was portrayed as a terrifying giant from Manchuria who spoke no English, ate raw meat, and crushed his opponents with moves like the Manchurian Splash and the devastating airplane spin. Fans were genuinely afraid of him, and this new persona made him a huge star in the wrestling world. In 1963, when Vince McMahon Sr. rebranded the Capital Wrestling Corporation into the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, WWF, Monsoon became one of the company's top villains. He regularly headlined events, feuding with champion Bruno Sammartino in sold-out arenas. Despite weighing over 400 pounds, Monsoon had surprising agility and stamina, often going toe-to-toe with Sammartino in one-hour-long matches. Monsoon's career also saw him teaming up with other legendary wrestlers like Killer Kowalski and Professor Toru Tanaka. These alliances, along with his singles matches, made him one of the most feared wrestlers of his time. But his career wasn't all about being a bad guy. In 1969, Monsoon turned into a babyface after being saved by his former rival, Bruno Sammartino, from an attack. This set the stage for him to become a fan favorite during the 70s, feuding with the likes of superstar Billy Graham and Andre the Giant. One of the most memorable moments of Monsoon's career happened in 1976 when boxing legend Muhammad Ali jumped into the wrestling ring during a match. Ali started taunting Monsoon, dancing around and throwing jabs. Monsoon responded by lifting Ali in the airplane spin and slamming him to the mat. Whether this encounter was planned or not remains a mystery, but it certainly added to Monsoon's legendary status. By the early 1980s, Monsoon was winding down his in-ring career. In 1982, Vince McMahon Jr. bought out Monsoon's shares in the WWF, ensuring him lifetime employment with the company. Monsoon then made the full transition to commentary, becoming the voice of WWF alongside Jesse the Body Ventura. The chemistry between Monsoon and Ventura was electric. Ventura played the role of the pro-heel commentator, while Monsoon was the straight-laced, fan-favorite announcer. Together, they called some of the most memorable matches in wrestling history, including 5 out of the first 6 WrestleManias. Their dynamic set the standard for wrestling commentary teams, and many of today's duos still try to emulate what Monsoon and Ventura created. When Ventura left WWF in 1990, Monsoon teamed up with Bobby the Brain Heenan. Although they were often at odds on screen, Monsoon and Heenan were close friends in real life. Heenan would later say in his WWE Hall of Fame induction speech that he wished Monsoon could have been there with him. In the later years of his career, Gorilla Monsoon stepped down as the WWF's main commentator after WrestleMania 9 to allow Jim Ross, a new recruit from WCW, to take over. Monsoon continued to commentate on other WWF shows like All American Wrestling and occasionally returned for major events like SummerSlam and Survivor Series. He was also called upon for specific episodes of Monday Night Raw and even worked on WWF radio. In 1995, Monsoon took on an on-screen role as WWF president, where he mediated between wrestlers and set up matches. However, due to health issues, he had to step away from the role by 1997. Over the next few years, his appearances became less frequent, with one of his last major moments being a judge at WrestleMania 15. Fans gave him a standing ovation during his final on-screen appearance due to his declining health. Monsoon was married to his wife Maureen for over 40 years and had 3 children. Sadly, his son Joey died in a car accident in 1994, which deeply affected him. In 1999, Monsoon passed away due to heart failure caused by complications from diabetes. Monsoon left a huge legacy in professional wrestling, both as a feared competitor in the ring and as a beloved commentator. Despite mixed reviews on his commentary style, many fans and colleagues remember him fondly. He was inducted into the WWF Hall of Fame in 1994 and remains a legendary figure in wrestling history.